Hi and welcome back to my channel. This is a video on my process for the December Paint With Me challenge. And if you don't know what the challenge is, it's a free challenge that I started that you can sign up for. So you can join us either this month if you're seeing this in December, or you can join us next month and for all the months after. I will leave a link to sign up in the description below this video. And I'll also leave a web address pop up on this video right now so you can see what it is if you just want to type it directly into your browser and then sign up and join us. So this challenge is different than most challenges that you might have seen elsewhere, especially on Instagram, because instead of give you a word prompt, I'm giving you a image. So all of us that are participating in the challenge paint the same image. And what's beautiful about this is that we can see what everybody's style looks like, because we all have a different interpretation of seeing an image. So when we process things visually, we take a look at it, we process it through our brains, and then it comes out onto paper. And it's always going to be unique because it's coming from our own visual interpretation. And then obviously it's coming out onto paper through our own set of skills. And so I love doing things like this because it really pushes me to paint subjects that maybe I haven't painted before. It also pushes me to test out new color palettes. It pushes me to make new color mixes as I'm doing that. And it also pushes me to try out new techniques. And I just think that I'm constantly on a journey of trying to improve myself and explore and really have fun, especially with watercolors, because I'm doing this with watercolors, because watercolors is so dynamic and it's a little bit finicky sometimes, and I think a lot of people believe that it's really hard because of that. But that's really, to me, what the beauty is of watercolors, is that it can be so different every single time you sit down to paint with it, depending on how you want to use it and what kind of techniques you're using. So basically, this video is me just painting my version of this month's photo, and I will include an image of the photo for you so you can see what it is I'm painting from and what everybody else is painting from. And so I wanted to maybe explain a little bit as you're watching me paint why I selected this picture. So I selected this photo because it's seasonal, and right now at the time of this challenge it's December, and even though I live in California and there's no snow here, I still really enjoy the idea of a cozy winter. I really love the snow and the way it looks, and it's also very challenging to paint. So I almost picked just a tree photo, like a snowy tree photo, but I wanted to include an element that was a little bit more, had like hard edges is the best way I can describe it. And so I looked for a cabin photo, and I loved this photo because the cabin is not in perspective. So it's not so much at an angle where me or anybody else that is participating would have to draw perspective, which is really difficult sometimes, and it gets into making the sketching part of creating a painting a little bit more difficult. And I wanted to take the difficulty out of that, and I wanted to really concentrate on the painting part of it. So by picking a photo like this where it's shot straight on and the elements are very easy to draw. So if you look at the image, it breaks down to a large triangle for the front of the house, and then you have a pretty much a rectangle that it sits on, and then a partial rectangle for the other roof, and then a bunch of windows and doors, and it's pretty easy to draw in order to get the outlines for you to just get to painting. And also it just has, like I said, more dimension and hard edges so that you're working around something and you're not just doing trees. And so I thought it was challenging yet also approachable. And so I hope that's how people felt, or people are feeling, as they're painting this also. And so I think the hard part about this for me personally, and why I also picked this photo, is to paint snow on trees, because I really, really wanted to try this, and I actually didn't have a lot of experience before going into this challenge painting snow on trees. And I think it's such a beautiful look, especially for the holidays and, around like the time where it snows, and I just love it. It's such a nice cozy feeling, and I thought it'd be fun for people to paint. Also, I wanted to explain a little bit as I'm painting this, the color mixes, because I get a lot of questions about, what colors did I use and how do you choose your palette and things like that. And so just a simple answer to the question of how do you pick the colors, I am using the reference photo. And that's my favorite way of picking colors, is using the photo as reference, basically, because nature and photographers and whoever took this photo, they saw and they had a vision of the colors and the composition, and trying to invent something myself would be more difficult. And so I'm just using this as a reference. And like I said, a lot of this is me practicing techniques that I've never done before. And so in order to make this light and easy, I am going to use as much as I can from the photo, and that includes the color palette. So obviously I'll tweak it a little bit, but for the most part, the essence is there. So I'm still painting the trees as like a dark green or gray. I'm keeping the blue of the door on the house. I'm keeping the browns of the house and the wood slats. So I'm not really changing too much. But in the case that you wanted to know what colors I used for the background, I'm using a mix of phthalo green, ultramarine blue. Actually, I think it's a French ultramarine, burnt sienna, and Payne's gray. And those are the 4 colors I used in the background, mixed in varying proportions. And that's how I get the change in color. I don't like to mix up a puddle of one color and then just use that one color. I kind of like to dip my brush as I go to get more variation. And that's one of the things I love about watercolor. And I want to let the watercolors come through like that. I want to allow the watercolors to show off their characteristics and what makes it so unique. And so I like to vary the colors while I'm painting. And so that's one way I do it, is I have these colors I'm using in order to make the general base color, but I don't pre-mix a puddle. Like I said, I'll dip and introduce different proportions of colors as I'm painting, which is how I'm getting all of the different variations in the background. And then I just wanted to mention lastly, if you've seen my latest drawings, I did think about inking this like I have been for Inktober and all these other paintings I've been doing lately, like sketches, where I outline the house. And I actually did a test run of this where I used ink lines and then I just kind of did a wash, and it wasn't quite as strong. I'll show a photo of it in this video so you can see what I'm talking about. But I didn't like it as much. I was also working with a little bit of a different palette, so it wasn't quite in my mind successful as this study. So I changed my approach for this one, and I decided I wouldn't ink it. I was just going to paint it straight with I would sketch it first and then I would paint it straight with paint. And so I think it turned out better. I was quite happy with how it ended up turning out, and I really have to say I enjoyed painting the trees a lot, like the snowy trees. And I actually want to do a piece with all trees, maybe if I get the time between moving, because we're moving this month, and we'll see how it goes. But I really do want to revisit this, and I think that might be the next thing I'm going to do when I sit down to paint and give myself a little bit of painting time. So I hope that you enjoyed watching this video, and I hope that it was helpful to see the process and hear a little bit about why I picked the photo and the colors I used in order to make some of the mixes. So if you want to join the challenge, just remember to find the link below this video and join us. So if you're watching this and December has passed, no worries, you can always join the next month. It's going to go on all year in 2020. So just hop on the email list and you will get an email with the next reference photo. The emails with the images come out on the second Friday of every month, so you have the rest of the month to paint it. If you painted, make sure to tag me at Susan Chang with an _ on Instagram, and make sure to hashtag the painting so everybody else can see your beautiful work. It's #PaintWithMeChallenge on Instagram. All right, so I hope to see you guys in the challenge, and I hope to see your work if you post it. And if this video helped you in some way and you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe below, and I'll see you in the next video.